Kasia reaches her boyfriend Bob's office and calls him, but he is busy with important work and asks her to wait outside. She ignores him and walks inside only for the security guards to start panicking, and the senior guard orders the other guard to call the police. Unknown to this reaction, Kasia heads upstairs only to find her boyfriend experimenting with another woman. Furious to find this important work of his, Kasia starts throwing the stuff around her at him. Right then, the police arrive to subdue Kasia and take her out. Sometime later, Kasia reaches home devastated since her life changed in a moment. She takes out her suitcase and starts packing her stuff. She releases the bees she raised for work and leaves for her hometown. Meanwhile, Agata, a businesswoman who owns a large furniture company, is meeting with the bank chairman to expand her business. At first, the chairman is unsure about funding her, but after Agate shows him a rare bogwood product, he becomes interested. Agata reveals that she found a mine and will be buying the land soon. However, the chairman asks if her brother Patrick still owns half of the company, and this changes Agata's mood. Meanwhile, Patrick is hung upside down by a gangster for his debt of $10 million. Patrick promises to get him the money, and after this tense encounter, Patrick receives a call from his sister and agrees to meet her. The scene shifts to a beautiful place in Zakopane, where two men are waiting for a guest. Agata arrives, but she isn't pleased with the noisy atmosphere and asks to be taken to a quieter area. The government official is also here to oversee the matter, and Agata discusses her plans with the men to buy land from them, but her rude attitude makes one of them angry enough to walk away from the deal. His partner tries to calm things down, but they are surprised by their children that they are dating and the girl is pregnant. The girl's father rejects since the boy is not wealthy, but the girl stands firm with her decision, and they both leave after kissing. Watching his son leave like that changes the landowner's mind, and he returns to the room and sits down. Agata understands that their decision has changed, but right then the official questions whether the man's sister agrees to sell her part of the land. Agata is shocked to learn of this and asks about her, but then he says that his sister lives in Chicago and will never come back. But to their surprise, Kasia walks in right then to hear their discussion. She walks out in anger after learning the details and says that she will not sell. Kasia receives a call when she walks outside. She stops to take out her phone, but her suitcase rolls down the road to hit a guy riding a motorcycle. Hearing the crash, Kasia blames the guy, and we find that it is Patrick. He asks Kasia out for coffee, but she leaves after picking up her suitcase. Patrick soon finds Agata, and she immediately asks how much he needs this time. He feigns ignorance initially, but gives in to reveal that he needs $10 million. Agata agrees to give him the money, but asks him to transfer his share of the company, and hands him the documents. He immediately signs the documents and turns to leave, but stops when he hears Agata mention that she will transfer the money after he does something for her. Patrick hears that she wants to buy land here, and that he needs to make a girl accept the deal. The next day, Kasia meets with an old lady who welcomes her with her homemade drink. Kasia tells her how much she missed the place, and that she is going to start raising bees in the shed. The old lady tells her that she is crazy to even think about this. At this time, the landowners monitor what Kasia is up to here, thinking that she might change her mind and decide to leave for America again. But seeing her chatting with the old lady, they don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. At night, it rains heavily, and the roof starts leaking inside Kasia's cabin. While C sets up that and closes her windows, she notices a guy setting up a tent outside her cabin. Kasia heads outside to find it was the guy from before, and tells him to get off her property. Patrick tells her that his bike broke down and he will leave in the morning. Meanwhile, his tent blows off and Kasia offers to let him stay at her place. Patrick rejects her offer, but eventually agrees when she mentions that bears will come for him. As soon as they enter the house, she tells him to get undressed. He proceeds to do so happily, and finds Kasia go inside the room and return to hand him some pants. Few minutes later, we see Patrick itching himself in the old clothes, and Kasia drops in to ask him whether he has called someone to pick him up. Patrick says that since his phone died, he doesn't have any options, and that he will leave in the morning. Kasia agrees to let him stay, and tells him to chop some wood from the shed outside. At this time, the two landowners are taking away Kasia's beehive, and Patrick, who came out, sees them, picks up an axe and warns them off. The landowners drop the beehive before they start running, and hearing the commotion, Kasia peeks out to see Patrick with an axe. She comes out and thinks that it was Patrick who broke her beehive, and before he could speak up, she tells him to leave right away. The next morning, the landowners come up with the plan to find a man for Kasia so that he will take her out of town like her previous boyfriend boyfriend did. So they set up to interview the single guys in town to set up with her. In the meantime, Patrick is at the place having a drink. The government official is at the bar as well, and they hit it together. While chatting, he mentions to Patrick about the landowners looking for a guy for Cassia. Patrick approaches them, and they freak out since they recognize him from the previous night, but Patrick tells them that he is the right guy for the job. But they hesitate since he is from out of town, but having no other options, they agree to take his help. In the next scene, Cassia visits a woodworker for help with her beehive and for fixing the roof of her cabin, but the guy rejects her, stating that his team is not available until next year. Realizing that her brother has talked with them, Cassia blames them and leaves. After that, she visits the local beekeeper to share her findings, but he rejects her. Cassia returns home to find Patrick arranging beehives outside her cabin. She reprimands him and tells him to leave right away, but he goes up the ladder to fix her roof. But right as he starts hammering, the ladder leans back and he falls to the ground. Cassia offers to help and takes him inside her cabin. Patrick thinks he has a chance with her now, but soon his dreams wake up to reality. The old woman from before comes in and tells Patrick to strip. They put Patrick on the table and start doing crazy things to him with the household items, saying that they are treating him since he fell down earlier. Not able to handle their activities, Patrick jumps down and runs outside after picking up his clothes. Cassia thanks the old lady for helping her and tells that will be last time Patrick will be coming here. In the next scene, Agatha talks with the bank chairman, who agrees to give her the fines. After the meeting, she calls Patrick to finish his task within the next 3 days. After that, the landowners and Patrick meet up to discuss their next course of actions. They are in a Ferris wheel while they tell Patrick that Cassia will be with the old lady and point him towards her house. Just as they said, we find Cassia with the old lady and 2 others while they discuss about Cassia scaring out Patrick the previous day. Right at the moment, Patrick and the official drop by knocking on the door. The old lady doesn't let them inside, and the official asks to rent the room since she runs the only inn in town. While the old lady thinks of a comeback, Cassia buds in saying that Patrick could stay at her place, and soon Patrick can be seen running happily inside the cabin. Before Cassia leaves, Patrick picks up the axe to chop wood, but right after she leaves, the landowners bring in a couple of guys and start chopping the wood. Cassia returns a while later and to her shock finds that all the wood chopped, and Patrick pops in to mention it was an easy task for him. Patrick goes on to fix some other stuff at the cabin, and after promising Cassia that he will finish up what he started, he goes on to work. Seeing Cassia leave, Patrick texts the landowners that she left, and we find Cassia return home to find the place fixed up and even the tap working. She thinks of offering Patrick a drink but changes her mind and leaves the drink right in front of her room. In the morning, Cassia walks out with her beekeeping kit and finds Patrick fixing the fence. She offers to take him out, and Patrick agrees to follow her. They walk across the mountain path all the way to the peak, and Patrick sees the surreal scene in front of him for the very first time. They continue to walk further and reach the tree where Cassia sets up the kit to take down the beehive. She hands him some tips for his safety before she climbs up the tree. She shakes the branch to catch the falling bees, and right as she climbs down, she falls over him. Patrick leans in for a kiss, but she brushes him off and picks up the beehive and leaves right after. Patrick turns to find a mountain goat looking at him. Sometime later, we find him at the old lady's place. She is treating him since the goat hit him, and Patrick asks for the old lady's help to get together with Koshka. The old lady is reluctant to help him and tells him that he should find his own way to get her. Following this, we see Cassia and the old lady at the local lumberjack competition. Cassia is surprised to find Patrick there and asks him to leave, but Patrick refuses to leave, telling her that he will be the winner. We find the landowners buying off the other competitors, but one of them refuses to budge. The ones bought off don't play well, while Patrick faces off with the bulky guy. In the finals, the landowners distract the bulky guy with a lady, but he almost drops the log on a watcher. Patrick jumps in to push the log away. Learning the truth, Cassia walks off angrily, and the old lady reprimands Patrick for pulling off such a stunt. Patrick follows Cassia back to her cabin and apologizes for such a stunt, but she tells him to buzz off. Patrick, however, intends to stay and throws off his bike key, saying he would never leave this place. Letting him be, Cassia goes inside the cabin and soon gets a phone call mentioning that the queen bee she ordered for her beehive arrived at the post office. Kasia immediately rushes outside, and seeing her in a hurry, Patrick learns the situation and insists that she go with him on the bike, since it will take her there faster. But only after he gets on the bike, he remembers throwing the key away a while ago, and rushes into the bushes to search for the key. Luckily, he finds the key soon and they ride off to reach the post office, but the lady in charge closes the office and leaves. Kasia feels sad since the queen bee might die if not picked up today. Patrick assures her and takes the delivery details, and goes to get the lady back to get the delivery. Kasia hugs Patrick for helping her, and this situation makes Kasia change her thoughts about Patrick. After they reach the cabin, they talk for a while, and seeing her change her mind towards him, Patrick thinks about come clean about his intentions with her, but Kasia stops him and they go into heat and do the deed. In the morning, Patrick heads outside as Kasia is still on bed. He goes to find the landowners and tells them the truth. They freak out in anger after learning that Agata is his sister. In the meantime, Kasia, who wakes up to find Patrick missing, walks around the house. She picks up Patrick's phone ringing and learns about his identity. Kasia blames herself for trusting a guy and hurting herself. As the landowners chase Patrick, Kasia jumps in right then and confronts Patrick and the landowners for what they did. Kasia leaves crying and mentioning that she never should have come home. While the landowners and Patrick feel bad about this, the official drops by and mentions that they finally got hold of the treasure. Hearing the official mention treasure in their land, the landowners capture him to learn more about it. The old lady drops in by this time and asks them to stop what they are doing and tells them to go inside to talk. The official explains that their entire land is covered with bogwood and it is worth more than diamonds. The old lady asks them to inform Kasia about this before she leaves. While the old lady scolds Patrick for doing this for the money, Patrick thinks back to the gangster who was chasing after him. Patrick takes the landowners to look for the gangster and ask him to work him. In the next scene, the gangster reports to Agata about the success of the plan and leaves. Following this, Agata visits the landowners to learn about Kasia leaving it all. Patrick finds Agata to get the money as per the deal and leaves, immediately taking the money case. At this time, Kasia has packed up all her things and walks out the cabin. Right then, the local beekeeper drops by to stop her. The landowners walk in as well along with the old lady. Kasia is surprised to see what's happening around her. The old lady mentions that it is all because of Patrick. Kasia's brother takes her to the side to explain that the EU has decided to sponsor them since their land has the largest deposit of bogwood. In the next scene, Agata brings the bank chairman here and Patrick surprises them along with the landowners. He informs about the whole thing and the landowners take the bank chairman for sightseeing. In the following scene, the landowners' children get married. After the ceremony, Kasia is sitting alone and sad, but right then Patrick drops in to cheer her up. They kiss to make up and soon join the others on the dance floor. And that is it for this 2022 movie called The Taming of the Shrew. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and I will see you again in the next video. Until then, this is your host for Movie Recap, signing off.